Well, good morning. I'm Katie Pace, and I am joined here today with Jim Keane, our Steelcase President and CEO, and we are live at Microsoft Envision for our second day. And we actually just left the stage from Microsoft Ignite, where Jim Keane was on stage with Sam George, talking about some very exciting new product announcements from Steelcase. So, Jim, I wanted to ask you today, tell us a little bit about some of the problems that these new products are solving.
Yeah, so in yesterday's keynote, Satya Nadella talked about the modern workplace. This is an important theme for Microsoft, a recognition that work is changing. We're moving from a world where process work was dominant to now in the workplace it's really all about knowledge work. Process work is all about reliability, consistency, and the facilities and the tools we use, whether they're technology tools or furniture, we're all optimized for that for many, many years. Now as we move towards knowledge work, what we're finding is that those old spaces just don't work as well anymore. We find that, ironically or paradoxically, 46% of the space goes unused in typical offices today, and yet people are having problems finding the space they need. So they're looking for spaces that support privacy, concentration, collaboration, opportunities to recover and recuperate from tough sessions, and these spaces are just tough to come by. So it's ironic that both are true at the same time. And we feel that the limited data we have helps us identify those facts, but we really lack the data to be able to take it to the next level and help people solve these problems.
Right. So how is Steelcase and Microsoft bringing together place and technology to help solve some of these issues?
Well, as you know, place and technology have been together for a long time, so everything about cubicles and private offices are based on the kinds of technologies we use and the kinds of processes we went through. So when we went from desktop computers to laptop computers to mobile devices to tablets, every time the furniture changed. Usually the furniture was a little behind. Now we see changes in furniture as a way to actually accelerate behavioral change. One of the problems technology folks face is that with all this great technology, we're only using a small fraction of its capability. And to use more of it, we have to change human behavior. And this is an area where the workplace is terrific. You can move people from one space to another, you break old patterns of behavior, and you have the opportunity, if you're intentional about it, to create new patterns of behavior. We also know that the workplace is not fully utilized, as I said before, but people lack data about that. Technology can help us get smarter about the workplace, spaces that are in high demand and spaces where we maybe have too much of spaces that are in low demand.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the two new products that we're introducing to help solve some of these problems. Yeah,
so today we're announcing Steelcase Personal Assistant and Steelcase Workplace Advisor. Both take care of unique problems, and to start with, we're using Office 365 as a source of information about people and meetings and spaces, and then we're layering on the information we never had before, which is what are actually people doing in the workplace. You can have a room that's booked, but there's nobody in there. So it looks like it's occupied, but it's really not. And the only way to get to information about actual human use is through sensors. So we're launching these products, and they're supported by sensors that are deployed throughout the workplace, in conference rooms to start, but other places down the road. And those sensors are on the Microsoft Azure platform. And that means that they're reliable, they're scalable, and they're secure. So you start with the sensors, and then you work towards the real human problems. And so the first problem is a problem that we know that users face in the workplace. Users are struggling every day to make sense of this dynamic workplace. A simple thing like just trying to get together with your colleagues is more complicated than it used to be. Used to be they were right there next to you. You knew where to find them. And the conference room was right there too. Today, people can be anywhere in the world. They can be meeting with colleagues in some other part of the building. You can start text messaging people. You start walking around looking for people. It's not the most productive use of time. So this Steelcase Personal Assistant gives you a tool where you can start by touching a button, and you can identify the colleagues you're trying to connect with, and the app tells you if they're in the building today or if they're someplace else. And let's say one of them is someplace else. That tells you that if you're going to have a meeting, you need a meeting that probably supports video conferencing. Then you can select a room that's been selected by the app based on the number of people in the meeting and the fact you'll need video conferencing or other filters you can set. And then by touching one more button, you send invites to all the people that you're inviting to that meeting. So without leaving the app, you can do this before with Office 365, but here without leaving the app, you can complete a workflow from start to finish. Now let's say you're in the meeting You find that the meeting's going great and you booked it for an hour, but you really would like some more time,
yeah.
You can hit another button, and if the room is actually available after your reserved time, you can extend your time from right inside the room. So add 30 more minutes because it's going
Awesome.
well.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, if you want to rate the room, this is very helpful for facilities people who are trying to understand why spaces are used more or less. You can say, hey, this room was great in supporting technology, for example, but I wish it had more privacy.
Right.
So it gives users a voice, which is something they always want.
Feedback loop. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about how all of this data then is used for facility managers, right? Because there's got to be some benefit to the organization with all this data about how their people are working now.
Well, there's a ton of data, first of all, and facility managers and IT managers care about confidentiality and security, first of all. So information about who your people are meeting with and when's that meeting and what's the topic. This is stuff that they take very seriously and very confidentially. And that's why they like the fact that we're using Azure,
yes.
a nice secure platform for this. So facility managers are awash in data. There's data everywhere, but it's really hard for them to actually get at the data in the context of a normal workflow.
Right.
So what we did with the Workplace Advisor app is create a workflow where when they open the app, the first thing they see is a dashboard that gives them information that they've already selected. They just want to monitor. Let's say workplace utilization, for example. Then they can drill down and see other things around use of individual floors, use of individual rooms. Maybe they're trying to book a room for a team to use for a long period of time. Maybe they're trying to compare different spaces to figure out what one space is used more or less.
Right.
And when they're doing that, they get access not just to the data from the sensors, but also the feedback that came from users, from the personal assistant. So they can see, hey, maybe the reason this space is underutilized is because people want more privacy.
Yeah.
The app also makes suggestions, tell you things you could try based on other things that we've seen work. And here the data is also being put in play because we can measure the change that happens in spaces if you do certain kinds of interventions. And the intent is over time we can become smarter about recommending just the right solution that's been proven to work before to help facility managers make better cost-benefit decisions.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting and makes a lot of sense, and sounds like we'll be making better workplaces for people and helping organizations better utilize their real estate too.
Absolutely. It's been fun to work with Microsoft on that.
Yeah. So tell us, when can we expect this in our workplaces? When will this be available?
Right. Well, the full range of capabilities I described will roll out over a series of waves. And the first wave is orderable right now for delivery in October.
Oh, great.
And then each new wave will come about every 3 months after that.
Awesome. That's great. Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you that are interested in Personal Assistant and Workplace Advisor, you can check out the links on our website or also on our Facebook page. And join us later this afternoon when we'll have a live demo with some of our Steelcase technical team and then also our Microsoft Azure IoT counterparts as well. Thanks for joining us and have a good morning.